guys, it's Kelly here and I'm back with another video. Today's video is featuring some products from Hero Arts. I'm just going to be very transparent with you guys. Originally, I had intended on using the Hero Studio, and so I had pulled out like the fancy dies and the extra incentive set, and then I like being able to show you guys like how you can get the same look with other products. So I'm using the Happy and Thanks extra large, Stampin' Cut, the daffodil fancy dies, I think the butterfly fancy dies, and so here's what ended up happening and how this video ended up coming to be. Jennifer, who is amazing and fantastic, used the Hero products in a live. And so because it's a subscription based, the Hero Studio is subscription based, it sold out. So that is no longer available. Here is the original card that I created with the fancy dies and the incentive set that is sold out. That font, though, the sentiment, is from the card kit, which is still in stock. But this is the risk all of us run when we do not subscribe. You know, you can purchase them, the next month if there's any leftovers, but sometimes they're really awesome and they sell out very quickly. And so what do we do when that happens? And usually I try to combine them into two videos, but this is actually just going to be the video for how we can kind of capitalize on the things that we love and use what we already have. So let's talk about what I'm doing here. Here I've done all of my die cutting out of white. And I'm just going in and I'm going to do two different daffodils, the white with the yellow centers and then the yellow with the orange centers. So whichever kind of daffodil you like, you can, do either one of them. I like to lay, anytime I'm using any sort of layering die, I like to lay them on top of each other so that I can mark where the shadows are going to be. And then kind of go from there. This one is a little bit unique because we are coloring it white. We're only adding the shadow portion, and so we do want to leave a good majority of the petals white. We're really just adding the shadows. And then we will blend that out. I prefer cool grays, but you could do this with warm grays or toner grays, neutral grays, whatever you have. You can still color objects white. They might just look slightly different than mine. So here, like you can see, we have some of those white areas where the layer was laying on top of each other. You just want to make sure that you fill in those edges so that way you don't have the stark white showing through when you lay them on top of each other. And then the same thing for the centers. I went in with the grays to make sure that they were all going to be like matched up and we weren't going to see any white peeking through. For the center of the daffodil, which is like the cupped portion, I am going to be, like I said, I'm going to be coloring them gold. Here, the fluted part of it, is drawn to be kind of wavy. So anywhere that it dips in, I'm adding just a little triangle of color, and this is going to help give it some shape and some movement. And then I'll work out toward my lightest color. If you look in the top left there, you'll see like these little like 3-4 prong stamen. This die is actually meant to be used so that it stays connected. So you would use the die in the center of this fluted part and then it would die cut, but it would stay connected to them. I chose to die cut them separately and then just cut the bottom portion with my scissors so I could glue them back in. This allowed me to just die cut everything all at one time. So this is with this is the area I was just talking about, like these are the centers. So there's 3 different layers of the daffodils. And so it gives you an opportunity to kind of layer them up differently to get them facing different directions, which I really, really love. So while I color the next ones, we're going to talk a little bit more about the concept. So, when you don't subscribe, you run the risk that they're going to be sold out. And that is pretty much what happened. However, when you are looking at a card or casing a card, you know, there's typically elements that stick out to you of things that you really love. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today, because I really did love the card that I made. I was very happy with it. Blue is my boyfriend, and I used that, you know, navy card stock. The next thing that I super loved about it was the bright, bold colors on this navy background. I totally was digging the drama of that. I loved that the sentiment was like that really bright white, and it was popping off that background kind of along the bottom, and so it balanced our design really nicely. I loved that there was shimmer and glitter. Like, I was able to add glitter to the wings of the dragonfly and of the bee. So these are all things that I really loved and was able to pick out from it. Now, you'll probably notice that the daffodils that I'm using are much larger than the dies that were in the fancy die kit of the month. They are a different scale, but we can still achieve the same look. However, I will link some below. Like, there's a flower bouquet and stuff that are on those same scale that Hero has that you might be more interested in if you don't have anything like this in your current stock. And they have other ones that are bigger size. I think I've used the Lily of the Valley before that are like these larger ones. And then I think they also have pansies and something else. So they have a couple of the fancy layering dies with the florals that I really like. So here I'm doing the orange center, and you can see how layering these two petals together, like now we're using different shapes than we did for the white one, leaves this kind of gap, which is going to allow us to put that center right in the gap. And then our flower is going to look as if it is turned and it's looking up and to the left. So it's great, kind of the way you can play around with the layers to see, you know, to get different looks out of them. Very much, you guys know I like the things that are very versatile, because I want it to be, you know, more bang for my buck. And I do think that these are great. So we're going to go through, we're going to do the coloring. I stuck with yellow greens because, remember, I said, you know, that I really liked the bright colors that were, you know, kind of bouncing off of that dark. So I really love lime green or a yellow green with a navy that feels very like happy spring, summer to me. So I colored all of them the same way. And, you know, this is just the stem, and then it has a couple of different leaves. The only one that's a little different is this one, where it's kind of like curled over on itself. It does have embossed lines that you can follow to figure out where you need to put your shading. So that way it looks like it is bent over. And so I didn't just randomly pick where to put it. I know it's kind of hard to see on camera, but there is embossed lines to follow. And then for the butterflies I cut with the middle still attached. So like I left the die complete to cut it out, and then I took out the center of like all of the detail to cut a background, which you'll see in a little bit. So originally I did my butterfly just straight pink, and I did cut two of them just in case. So this one we're going to do just straight pink, and the other one we're going to do pink and orange. And again, these are a little bit larger. There is another set that has the die cut butterflies that are a little bit smaller, on a smaller scale if you would prefer that. But I don't like chasing around all the little pieces. So honestly, this size of die is a much better fit for me. So as far as life goes, what have we been doing? It's been crazy around here. Which, I mean, I feel like I say that every single video. So Thursday, my mom went to the doctor, and then they ended up admitting her for some health issues. And thankfully, they released her on Saturday. But so she was in there for a couple of days. Miss Jellybean went to go spend the night with her other grandparents, which we had already had planned for her to do. And Peanut went to go stay. It was his weekend with his dad. So we went then on Saturday when mom get home, me and Eric and all of my sisters went back to their house to kind of like try to, first of all, visit her, like see, how she's doing and kind of figure things out. And then Sunday, I told you guys that Jelly Bean moved up in her swim class. So Eric's parents just met her at swim, brought her to swim and met him there. But then when he came home, I was like, how did it go? And he was like, terrible. She cried the whole time. And I was like, what? Like, she loves swimming. And he was like, no, she just coughed and cried the whole time. Apparently, she's been coughing all night at my parents as well. So she's sick. Yeah. And she was sick. So she ended up, not Monday. Monday, she just had Sunday, she had the cough. She did like choke herself with the coughing, and she got sick on Sunday. So, then we're cleaning that whole thing up and doing laundry and everything else in the middle of the night. But anyway, I love how I can say just like, but anyway, like that's just par for the course. But really, in the season of life we're in, like it really is. It really is. So then Monday, she was fine until the evening. She spiked a fever in the evening. And then, so Tuesday, I was supposed to go to my parents to help them with, some stuff, make dinner and everything else. And I ended up having to swap with one of my sisters because I can't go see my mom. She's immune compromised. While, my little one has a fever. So unfortunately I was kind of like shirking my responsibilities off on my sisters, but thankfully they're wonderful. So then she was home yesterday and Eric's mom came out to kind of hang out with her. But in the middle of this, Friday, we have to go back now. Friday, I went down into the basement to get something, and we had water in our basement because we've had nothing but snow and like Arctic temperatures. But then somewhere in the middle of all of this Arctic temperature, we got like a spring thaw. It was like 45 degrees the other day, but we had all of this snow from the whole month of January that just started melting at the same time. And we didn't have issues in our basement the first couple of years that we lived here, but we have had consistent issues. The last like 3 springs, we have replaced 2 different sub pumps, and we have, what did he call them? Like where 2 pieces of concrete meet, there's like a joint that's created, and it's intentional for the temperatures for it to expand and contract. But anyway, basically it's coming up between those cracks. So we had to just bite the bullet and call a waterproofing company, because even though we had waterproofing done in our basement, well, it wasn't us, it was the people before us, and there is a warranty and it's still under warranty. That company has actually gone out of business. So our warranty doesn't mean anything. So now, we have to save our pennies so that we can waterproof our basement. It just like the hits just keep coming. So hopefully it's going to get a little bit more chill here. She was finally over the fever and she was able to go back to daycare today. So hopefully we're over and we're done that with until the next illness comes, because they all just are petri dishes. But it's been a little bit crazy. So here, I've got my 2 pieces of nautical cardstock. I'm going to be honest with you. I love blue. I love blue in all shades. Nautical from Hero Arts might be my favorite blue cardstock. Like, I love them. I love this navy. There's some other good ones out there too, but I really love this one. And so I have, you can see how these are kind of mimicking each other, encasing each other with the like the brighter colors. We have these large white sentiments at the bottom. Though I'm going to be real with y'all, that thanks, I love that script font. I love that script font. It's part of the card kit. So if you get the card kit, you'll be getting that in the mail. But this one is good. This one is good too. It's going to do what I need it to do. I just really like that font. So then I stack these up just like I did with the previous card. I stack them up, with 3. And then here, this is actually the Everyday Sentiments, and it has this coordinating die. And basically what you do is, when Hero Arts first released it, it was with that Valentine's Day one. That was the other set that you saw that was like in the shape of the heart. They also have a holiday one, but this one's Everyday Sentiments. And so basically you just stamped this out and it fits on an A2 size card, and it has sentiments for everything. Congratulations, just saying hi, happy retirement, like I appreciate you, best wishes, miss you, love our friendship. Like it's got sentiments for everything. And then once you stamp them out, then you can use the die, that stripedy die, to cut them out. Now, when I'm going to white heat emboss mine on this navy cardstock, so I'm only going to use a portion of it, and I'm using the Unicorn Pigment ink after I treat it with my anti-static tool. So I'm going to stamp the one that says happy birthday and the one that says you're the best. And then once I put on the white detail embossing powder, I will go ahead and heat set these. But these are just really great if you just need like a little sub sentiment to finish out your larger sentiment. This one, obviously, I had a little bit more room to fit them on there. So I'm not going to like pitch them. I'm going to cut them all out. And then the same thing with this one. So I just lined it up. And here is the thing with this. I do want to mention, like normally I would run my die this way. With these types of dies, you don't want to do that. You want to turn it on its side, because that way, because of the pressure, the plate shifts at all, it is not going to cut through your sentiment. Whereas if you run it through like vertical or like in a portrait style, if there's any pressure that pushes the plate, it's going to push it down and it'll cut right through your sentiments, which we obviously do not want. And then I can just keep these. They're just black on white, and I made sure to stamp them with the Copic Safe ink, so if I want to color them, I can. And I'll just keep these in the little envelope with the die. Here, I'm going to do the same thing, but now obviously I'm only doing it partially. And then to make sure that it fits through, I'm just going to trim it down with my little shears. And now I have these cute little sub-sentiments. Here, I've laid everything out, and then I am going to glue down the stems and the leaves flat, and then I'm going to pop up my flowers. And the butterflies, I'm only going to glue down the bottom portion, and you'll see what that looks like when we get a little bit further along here. So we ended up having the waterproofing company come out and take a look at it, and he was like, yeah, normally your like water fails at the cold joint, like where it meets the wall, but ours is not. The slab underneath our house is completely saturated, and so it's pushing up those joints because it's the path of least resistance, basically. So this company does, even though it's going to cost us, an arm and a leg and the blood of our firstborn child, this company does have a lifetime warranty. And we were like, how long have you been in business? How many places are you? Where are all of your offices? Like, if we have a lifetime warranty, is it genuinely a lifetime warranty? What does it cover? Like, we were very curious, like we were very questioning about what they, did provide, considering we had a warranty that we thought was good when we purchased the house, and they clearly went out of business at some point. So that is a bummer. So here I have everything down flat there, and I'm just getting my flowers in place. And then I will just I'm using Scotch foam tape. So it's not too thick, just a little bit of thickness to kind of raise them up and add a little bit of interest. This is something that I did not do with the original card, because I had so many dies that were laying on top of each other. It was giving it enough dimension. So I'm going to kind of fake that a little bit with this foam tape. And then once I have those down, I can, lay my sentiment down, figure out where this butterfly needs to go. And because the butterfly has like the wings on top that are kind of bent up, I've only adhered just the body to the base of the butterfly. And now I'll be able to add glue just to that darker portion that's underneath it. Or in this case, this one's darker, but the one on the other card is white. It's white underneath the butterfly. And so that way I can still have my little butterfly wings folded up and adding in that extra bit of dimension to the card. In the previous card, I very much tried to create those visual triangles for balance. And here we're kind of doing the same thing, where we have like the two white daffodils, and then the white sentiment is creating, that kind of visual triangle for the other one, because they're all colored. The yellow daffodils and the butterfly, those little three are creating their own little visual triangle there as well. So this one I did, like I said, I added a sub-sentiment, which wasn't the case with the first one, but that's okay. This card just needed it. So those are just some things that you can look at. I am adding shimmer, just like I did with the first one. I am adding it to all of the flowers on both of these cards as well. And then I'm doing the white highlights, same thing that I did with the first card, so capturing that little detail. And then I love the glitter, and I added it to the insects on the first card. So here I'm going to add it to the butterfly wings, so that they are shimmery and glittery. They have two types of glitter on them. And I was really happy with the way that they came out. I did add some gemstones to these ones, which is slightly different than what I did with the first card, but again, we have a little bit less going on here, so I felt like it could carry the gemstones a little better. With the other one, I was worried that it was going to be too busy. But then that was the last little detail I added. And then here is both cards. I hope that this inspires you to use what you have to kind of case some cards that you love, even if that product is no longer available, or if it's just not within your budget. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I always appreciate your time, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.